Hi guys, it's Steph from IDRIVEACLASSIC and today I'm back and I'm at the Manchester Museum of Transport for our very first car show of the year, and I'm actually going to use this video to kick off our car show series. So we're going to watch this video today, and this has been set in 2020, but all the other videos before this are retrospective. So I hope you enjoy the video today. There's going to be lots of Morrie Minors, buses, and hopefully lots of interesting stuff as well. So this is the first car show of the year. The weather's a bit grim, but thankfully it's all indoors. So let's go and have a look at some amazing Morrie Minors. Now I thought I'd just pan round and show you just how many cars are here. Now for those of you watching from abroad, the weather is terrible here at the moment. We've had snow, wind, rain, hail, different storms. So to be honest, to get this many cars here in, well, what's probably one of the worst months in quite a while is quite an achievement. Now there's quite a lot of stuff to look at this museum, so I thought in today's video I'd focus mainly on the cars, chat to a few owners, chat to a couple of people from the Manchester branch, and chat to somebody from the museum as well. There's so much to show you, so I'm going to pick out some of my favourites, but first let's catch up with a few people here.
I'm Jack, and this is...
I'm Reese, pleased to meet you.
This is my 5th time coming to the Manchester Winter Rally held in the Bus Museum. This rally's been going for a very long time. It was started by Jeff Lawson, is it? Lawrence. Jeff Lawrenson who started this. It's incredibly successful as it's one of the first rallies of the year. And because it's indoors and people like to keep their cars dry, it's very popular. In fact, we were over demand this year. We had more cars than we can fit. So it's been a good turnout.
And I'm now living in Scotland, but I've come down to help out with this rally. I've been coming here for 18 years now, and I used to come with my grandpa when it was his car, and now it's my car. It's driven all the way down from Scotland to come to this show today.
Now I thought we'd start at the front as we look at some of these cars. Now I'm sure many of you have seen a Morrie Minor before. They are one of the most popular British cars, and in fact it was the first car to sell 1 million units in the UK, and there's even a minor million here today, which we're going to have a look at. And in fact, if you're heading over to the NEC Resto show in Birmingham at the end of March, it will be on display on the Morrie Minor Owner Club stand. Now for those of you that have never been here before, this is the Museum of Transport. It's located in, I think it's on Cheetham Hill in Manchester. It's a really nice venue. We paid £5 to get in, which I don't actually think is that much money in terms of what's going on. And it wasn't just Morrie Minors here today as well. In the next video you'll be able to see we went on a bus ride. You can look around all the buses and old trams and things, and it's great. Now one of the things that I really like about the Morrie Minor community is that there doesn't appear to be really any snobbery in terms of you can turn up with anything. So this Morrie Minor called Emily, it's got customised door cards, it's got the KA interior, and it's got a customised dash as well. Now it's just as welcome as your standard Morrie Minors that we've already seen, and you've got everything from the super shiny like this car, which is part of the South Cheshire Moggy's group, which is one of the newer Morrie Minor groups, and it's just a really great atmosphere. So if you haven't been before, you should definitely pencil it in for your calendar next year. Now one of the most interesting things that I saw today was, and we're going to have a look at it in a minute, there was not only kind of your standard Morrie Minors like this, there was also a Ford Zetec engine which had snuck its way in under the bonnet of a very unassuming Morrie Minor located just over here. So we've got some results pinned up there that I wanted to show you. Now let me show you this engine bay, because Morrie Minors are extremely versatile. So one of the most popular things that people used to do was drop Marina engines in, so it gave you a really good upgrade straight into a 1300. But this guy, and unfortunately he wasn't here for me to chat to, has gone one step further. He has got a Zetec engine in, which as you can see is quite cramped but does fit in the space, and it would give you a lot more power. But remember, if you're going to attempt something like this, you do need to upgrade the brakes as well, because on your Morrie Minor you've just got your standard drum brakes all the way round, and brakes from what's this, H-Reg 1970, 1971, you don't want to be messing about. But you can see there he's even got some different wheels on, so it's great because there is just as much interest here in cars like this as there is in the other cars. Now let's have a flick round, because we've got police cars here as well, and as well I've managed to track down the owner of the police car so we can have a little chat with him and he can tell us a little bit more about that. So let's go and catch up with Dave Morris, who owns one of the most gorgeous Morrie Minor police cars I have ever seen. Now, there are lots of replicas of the Morrie Minor police car, but this is a genuine car. Now, one of the few different ways that you can work out if it's a police car or not, and obviously I know that these can be added in retrospectively, is there were a few different bits and pieces to the police cars. So they had these, what would I call it, almost enhanced, instead of you get your standard straps on your Morrie Minor, they had enhanced bottoms to the bottoms of the seats. Obviously people were sitting in them all day long. You've got your livery, you know, instant, something you can spot instantly there. It's not something that would be standing out. And as well, I'm going to try and show you, you've got a zip in the headlining. So we're just going to come up here. I'm going to show you. So you've got a zip running across there, and that's obviously just for all your gubbins for the light on top of the car. So quite often when these cars are being stripped out later in their life, because when the government were done with them and when the police forces were done with them, they were sold at auction, just like your Ministry of Health cars. So quite often they would get sold on, they would get stripped out, but sometimes some of the only features that are left are those zips in the headlining. And as well, you can see here we've got a radio. So although this hasn't got the original seats, we have got quite a few distinguishing factors that show us this is a police car. And would you believe this is actually owned by an ex-policeman as well? So what I've done is I've actually asked Dave to just tell us a little bit about the car and what he's done with it.
Hi, my name is Dave Morris, and this is my 1968 ex-Metropolitan Police Panda car. It was one of the first commissioned in London in January 1968. It was in service between 68 and November 69. Got sold off in November 69, and it was bought then by a lady in Kent who stayed in the same family from 1969 until I came to acquire it in 2015. My son Tom got the car for me, did a sort of mild restoration on the car from February through to May of 2015, and then in the May of 2015 we took it down to the south of France with the Morrie Minor Owners Club for Minors on tour. So we did 2,000 miles in a week, when it had been sort of standing in the back of a garden for about the last 5 or 6 years previously. The reason I wanted a Morrie Minor police car, I've got a few Morrie Minors, but being an ex-police officer, I thought it'd be quite nice to match up my like of cars with my previous profession. So we've been able to sort of transform it back into sort of police spec, 1968 police spec with the police box, the police radio, and I'm not quite old enough to have driven one of these in service, but I did drive the blue and white Panda cars when I first joined, and they changed to white shortly after I joined the police.
Now, after we'd spoken to Dave Morris, it only seemed right, and by the way, that is his real surname, to go and see one of his son's cars. And he's got 3 sons, Tom, Ethan and Jack, and all of them have Morrie Minors, and this is one of Tom's many Morrie Minors, but it's not just any old Morrie Minor, it's a Minor Million. Now the name came from, all the way back in December 1960, so mentioned earlier in the video, the Morrie Minor became the first British car to sell more than 1 million units. So what they did is they went to the factory and they said, right, we're going to commemorate this, it's an amazing thing, and we're going to create 350 special cars. Now the rumour has it they tried different colours, they used gold, they used silver, but paint wasn't advanced enough at the time, and I believe it was somebody's wife or associate suggested the Minor Million. Now as we have a look into the car, you can probably see that unlike many Minor Millions that you see, this isn't some tarted up, overdone version. This is a genuine car. This was somebody's daily driver for many years. It went into, I believe, the Jaguar Land Rover, I think they've got like a load of cars, and then it came up in the JLR auction, and Tom went in there and he bought this incredible car. Now unfortunately Tom isn't around, but don't forget this will be at the NEC on the Morrie Minor stand. Now when you're doing videos like this, it can be quite difficult sometimes when you've got a lot of single mark cars. So I thought I'd have a little bit of a chat to you about Morrie Minors and about the Owners Club as well as we have a look round, because I've found out through comments and things like that that a lot of people that watch the videos that I do are watching them because they want to know if, they want to know if they're picking the right car or what they should do about it. So first of all, many of you probably already know that Morrie Minors were manufactured, they were introduced at the Earls Court Motor Show Monaco in September 1948, and they ran all the way through in this country under different guises. So in the beginning you had the MM into the Series 2 in 1952, and then into the 1000 series, which is kind of these highlight Morris Minors that you're kind of seeing here today. There's a few early ones here actually, and they ran all the way through to 1971. Now it's a bit of a funny one because these have stayed massively popular, which means that your parts availability is still pretty good. For your earlier cars, for things like your MM in Series 2, as much as we like to mock people like my friend Richard for his insistence on trying to find as many parts as possible, the parts are drying up for some of the earlier cars, but for your later cars, which are from 1956 through to the end of manufacture, you can still get pretty much everything, which is in sharp contrast to a lot of cars that you could have picked up in the 70s, 80s, through to the 90s, and some of the early 2000s cars as well. Now, one of the things that I like to talk about when I do these videos and I show you some of these cars is the Owners Club. So for me, I've been in the Morris Minor Owners Club since 2009, and it continually proves itself to be one of the friendliest and most open clubs out there. So it's great. It's got a young members register. In fact, it was one of the very first to have that facility. And PS, that number plate is really interesting. Just going to veer slightly off topic. It's really interesting, 4 numbers, 2 letters. So it came about in that mad time when they were doing 3 letters, 3 numbers, but as they ran out, they started messing about the combination of 4 numbers, 2 letters. So it's not something that you see very regularly. So just a bit of a geeky thing there to show you. And as we have a look at some of these cars, and I realise I've veered off on a massive tangent, you'll be able to see there are 2 types of wipers. So wipers like this on the police car that we've already looked at, and then your earlier cars have clap hand wipers. Now this is because on your earlier cars, so your series MMs and your MMs, they had the split screen. Now when they did the 1000 series, so my 1960 car has the clap hand wipers, they didn't update that feature despite taking out the split screen. They didn't update that till 1962 when they changed over to the wipers like this. So for Hubnut fans, that's a bit of a geeky fact for you, and something that I thought you might be interested in. Now as we pan around, you'll be able to see that people seem to have made, by the way, there's a split screen for you, and you'll be able to see those clap hand wipers, which are slightly different to your police car. By the way, they're always really slow, or mine certainly are. But as you'll be able to see as we look around the cars as well, it's not just modifications that people put on. You'll be seeing a lot of event stickers, and that's because the Morris Minor Owner Clubs, the different registers around the country tend to put on lots of really good quality events like this. You've got things like the Roses Run, which again I believe is organised in conjunction with Manchester branch, or they're certainly involved in it, through to your National Rally, which is a 3-day event which goes on in June. I've put that in my events guide. This will be my 11th year, I think. One of my absolutely cannot miss events in my calendar, and as well as that, there are lots of different things that go on throughout the year, and a lot of them are Morris Minor related. But if you turn up in something that's not a Morris Minor, you're not about to be shunned. So today I've come in my Marina. Confession time, my Morris Minor's off the road at the moment, and it has been since last summer because it needs a new engine, and I haven't bought one yet. Another one of those number plates, by the way, for the eagle-eyed of you. And you're still made to feel very welcome, probably because I want to harvest my engine when my car goes rotten. But yeah, so you'll be able to see some of the stickers here, different things that they do, different branches. So if you're watching this video, and I know a few of you will be, and you're debating, do I buy a Morris Minor, what do I do? I think it's definitely a great starter classic. I'll be honest, it's probably not the most exciting thing you can buy, but most exciting doesn't always mean most fulfilling. It's got a great owners club. You've got an enviable parts supply up there with kind of your minis. But minis are kind of out the price range of a lot of people, but your Morris Minor will still give you that classic pleasure, and you'll still have a great time in it as well. What else can I tell you about these amazing little cars? You can get a good speed out of them. So this is something that people debate all the time. People say you can't get them above 55. you definitely can. So if you go for one of the earlier cars where you've got an 803 or a 948, you're probably going to be looking at the tops of, in what, your early 803s, you're probably looking at kind of your 50, 55, your 948s. You don't want to really be pushing it past 60, but in your 1098 you can quite happily sit at 65, 70 on the motorway. And with all these motorway delays and all these limited speed areas, realistically you don't actually need to be going that much faster. The only upgrades I would really suggest, so people again always say, what do you do to upgrade? And it's definitely something I'm going to do this year for mine. Well, apart from the engine, I think better brakes, if you can get hold of them, better brakes. You can get disc brake conversion kits. They're not the hardest thing to find. I think hazard warning lights are something that are definitely a great addition, and you don't have to butcher your car to add all these things in. And a rear heated screen as well, because honestly, if you're going to be driving this car on the regular, you will need those, and I think they are, well, you don't need them, but I think they are a great addition. Now I thought I'd show you this van because not only is it somebody's regular van, I think it's a really nice example as well, so you can see some of the difference between this. Now I also want to show you this car, although it looks a little bit battered. Now this car is owned by Reese, that we were chatting to on the top of the bus earlier. So he's had this car for a very long time. In fact, I've known him for a good number of years now, and he's always had this. Now it was a bit patinaed when he got hold of it, and he's kind of just kept that look running, which is very reminiscent of some of the 80s Morris Minors that you used to see, because I think we're kind of stepping into that era now where a lot of Morris Minors are starting to look very polished. They're starting to look like show cars, and this mad subculture of some of these cars looking quite ratted, looking quite used, are fast disappearing. And this is Reese's daily car. Now, a lot of people aren't brave enough, myself included to some extent, to be still driving a Morris Minor as a daily car. But Reese is doing it, and in fact he not only drives this every day, he lives up in Scotland and faces all the bad weather in it. So whilst it probably looks very patinaed to some people, and I can really appreciate that because it looks very different to some of the more how shall we say, concourse cars here, it's a very honest, genuine car. It's very solid, and it's a beautiful car as well. And not only that, he has driven it all the way down from Scotland for this show, and is probably one of the furthest travelled people, because it's quite a fair distance, and he's done it just to come down for the show and see everybody as well. And I think, well, if you're going to pick a classic that you want to be driving every day, that you want to be doing mad mileage in, and that you want to use with as much justification as something boring that you can get on finance, then I don't think a Morris Minor is actually that much of a bad option. Now, I thought we'd catch up with somebody from the organising team, because this is a fabulous show, and I thought we'd get a little bit of a quick lowdown on what they've done to get this here today.
Right, welcome to the Museum of Transport. This is our 23rd consecutive year that we've had the Morris Minors here. We're expecting around about 50, which is the normal total. The museum itself is obviously open to the general public. It's a charity, so all the people working here are volunteers. So we're open weekends and on Wednesdays, and we welcome school parties, disabled parties, whoever.
After catching up with one of the organisers, I thought we'd come and have a look at what I consider to be one of the most interesting cars here at the show today. Now, if you visited the NEC Classic Car Show in November last year, you might recognise this car from the Morris Minor Owner Club Young Member stand. Now, this caught my eye because it's quite interesting, because it has a lot of history, and the history hasn't been eradicated, which makes it probably one of my favourite cars here. Now, you'll notice under the bonnet it looks very different from your standard Morris Minor, and that's because it's a very early car. In fact, so even little things like this radiator, which you can see is a high top, very different to your later radiators, which are a lot more flat, right through to, well, pretty much everything under the bonnet looks very different, and your grille, this hasn't had its past eradicated, because a lot of people grab cars like this and think, oh, you know, let's make it look a show winner, let's, you know, take all the rust off, let's take all the patina off. But no, Andy took this car on, and we're going to speak to Andy in a little minute, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about this car. And he took it on, and he's got it roadworthy, so a bit of welding, I think he replaced a few window seals, and he just cracked on and started driving it. And this will probably surprise quite a few people. For a car all the way from 1953, Andy has driven this all the way from near Coventry today. So he's driven all the way from near Coventry all the way up to Manchester, which for anybody watching from abroad or down south who doesn't really know the area, it's a good few hours driving. So this is a car that, whilst it may look a little bit weather beaten, is performing well, incredibly well, because otherwise how would it get here? So I think it's high time that we caught up with Andy, asked him a little bit about this car and to tell us her history, because it's so interesting and it's so impressive that I couldn't help but include Andy in this video to tell you a little bit more.
Hi, this is my 1953 Series 2 two-door saloon. It's basically I was told about it by somebody who came and knocked on my door. It had been sat on a driveway in Northampton for 20 years under a cover. The person who bought it as a project. It had been off the road for another 20 years before that. So when we got it home, and we found that it was remarkably solid and full service history up to when it was parked up in 1981. So we managed to get it fired up really easily, and just, you know, a few patches of welding, changes of rubber parts, and it was ready to go. It was MOT'd a few months later, and the rest is history. It's a brilliant car. It drives really well, still with the 803 engine, and I love driving it.
Seeing as we started the video with one of the newest cars here at the front of the museum, I thought I'd end the video on a high with the oldest car here today. So just like Andy's, this is a 1953 car, but very much unlike Andy's, this has been fully restored and is a beautiful shining example of what this car probably looked like when it left the factory back in 1953. Now I really hope you've enjoyed this video. There were so many cars here, as you probably guessed from when we panned around at the start. I really hope you've enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure to come to the museum today. So remember, it's the Manchester Museum of Transport. It's open now, so you can go and visit it if you like. And it's been a pleasure to see so many people here today, have a chat with lots of lovely people, and see some brilliant Morrie Minors too. It's really sparked me thinking I need to get mine sorted actually. Now, next video will be on the buses that I saw here today, but until next time, I guess it's only fair for me to say take care and drive safely, and of course have a lovely week too.